Today we're going to talk about present real conditionals. Present real conditionals are used to show the cause and effect or the cause and result relationship between two events or two actions. Present real conditionals can contain two ideas. One is in the if clause and the other in the result clause. Present real conditionals are often used to express advice, warning, general truths, or habits, but they can be used to express much more. In the if clause, use simple present or present progressive tense. For example, if you're traveling by plane, don't bring any water bottles or beverages. So you see in your if clause, there's present progressive, and in your result clause, you have don't bring. In the result clause, you have a choice of three. You can use simple present, modals, or the imperative. In our example here, we have don't bring, which is an example of the imperative. You cannot use present progressive in the result clause. What is the imperative? The imperative is the base verb, which has no subject. Imperative expresses instruction or direct advice, or a command. So some examples: open your books, close the door, go to the post office. In each of these examples, there is no subject, and they all use the base verb. So let's say, for example, your friend is going to San Francisco, and your friend says, "I'm going to San Francisco." And you say, "That's great. I've been there before." So because you've been to San Francisco before, you want to give some advice, some suggestions to your friend. Okay. Now in this case, because you know your friend is going to go, you would say, when you go to San Francisco, you should have the clam chowder. You know that at Ferry Plaza Seafood, they have delicious clam chowder. So you want to give some advice to your friend. When you go, you should have the clam chowder, and your friend is happy. Whoops, you didn't know your friend doesn't like seafood. So let's take a look at this sentence. We have our if clause, which is using simple present. So if you go to San Francisco, and then we have our comma, you should try the clam chowder. So here we've got a modal plus base verb, and we're giving advice. So this is our result clause. And this is our if clause. Let's look at another example. If we go to San Francisco, we bring a lot of quarters. So again, we're using our if clause. We're using simple present in our if clause. And then in our result clause, we're also using simple present. So our if clause is if we go to San Francisco, and our result clause, we bring a lot of quarters. This is a parking meter. So let's look at this next one. If you are shopping at night, park near a light. So here we have our if clause, and we've got present progressive. And then in our result clause, we've got park near a light. And here we're using the imperative. If you notice, there is no subject, and it is using base verb. So let's use, there's a couple more things you need to know about present real conditionals. When means if. And when you see when, we know two things. It can be that the condition is certain to happen. Such as a trip that you've planned. Or it could be a habitual action. And sometimes it can even indicate a general truth. So here's a way to think of present real conditionals. Think of some habits. For example, when I wake up in the morning, what do you do every morning? Or when it's Saturday, what do you do every Saturday? Or when it's raining outside, what do you do when it's raining outside? So in each of these, we're talking about habitual actions, things that we generally do during these conditions. So take a moment, pause the video, and write down some answers. So here are some possible answers. When I wake up